for over 30 years, I've evaluated movement where it's automated and people don't even know they're doing it because it is subconscious, not unconscious, it's subconscious. So your brain is doing things that you are just not aware of. The body, the brain is automatically going to change things. And if you don't fix those automations, something's still going to signal in the muscles. Your brain wins always.
Welcome to Happy and Healthy with Amy, the brain health podcast for women in midlife who want to not just survive, but actually thrive during the menopause transition and beyond. I'm Amy Lang, master health coach, best-selling author, and daughter of Alzheimer's, and I'm here to help you make this next chapter of your life the best one yet. Well, hi there, Amy here. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome back to another episode of Happy and Healthy with Amy. So this is part 2 of Move for Your Brain with Marian Barnick. So in part 1, Marian made a point that really got my attention. She said quality of movement isn't just as important as quantity. It's more important. You cannot have quantity without quality. So the question is, if your body has been running compensated patterns for years without you even knowing it, how do you actually get the quality back? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So let's get started. Okay, so we've talked about why movement matters for the brain, right? And then we've really sort of moved into how these compensations are sort of unknowingly working against us, right? And being able to do the things we want to do. So whether it's like that menopause weight gain where you like, okay, I need to move my body more, right? I'll feel better if I move my body more. I think what I would like to do is kind of shift the attention now and really talk about, we've talked in general terms about the injuries and things that have happened. Muscles got weaker, right? Other things happened. Can we put a little structure behind it? Because I know you have a couple of frameworks that we could use to really better understand what good movement looks like, what that movement before the compensations or the bad habits, if you will, right, come from. And actually, I do want to fold in here, in a lot of ways, your movement compensations. Like I always talk about, we have old habits that no longer serve us. Like at some point, those habits were there and they helped us. The compensations, those movement changes happened for a reason and they helped us. And so I'm not even going to say that they're bad habits. I will just say that they no longer serve us. We don't have that. If we don't have that injury anymore, we don't need it. So it's kind of like, how do we then change it so that we can get back to, okay, I no longer have this injury. How do I move forward with this, right? And retrain my brain. So can you help us I know you have a couple frameworks that could really help us here.
Yeah, absolutely. If we look at just what you were saying about how they served us, that's where the compensations come from. Because if we look at from a baby learning to roll over, learning to sit up, learning to stand, then learning to walk, the body develops in the kinesiological way, in learning to have the mobility first, and all those joints move. So if you've ever put a jacket or a jumper or something on a little baby, those arms go everywhere. Those legs go everywhere. There's no problem with mobility whatsoever. When they learn to roll, again, there's mobility and they're using their muscles and they're using their joints. And then when they're standing, when they pull themselves up, they've got stability. So they've developed that stability in their body. They need that because when they want to start locomotion, when they want to start to walk, and you see it with crawling first, that's locomotion, then you see it with the walking, is you need to be stable and then you need to move the joint. So you need to have some strength in there too. to be able to hold yourself up. So mobility, stability, and strength are the components. And that is the big components of how we need to heal as well when we are healing from an injury, and even healing from those compensations, from those not bad habits, from the habits. I like what you said. They did serve us. They don't serve us now. So they're not bad habits. But those habits developed because of injury. So if you think about spraining your ankle, you were on the tennis court, something happened, you tripped over a ball, whatever it was, and you have a sprained ankle. Well, what you're going to do is you still need to get to the car. You still need to get home. You still need to go for therapy. You still need to eat. So your body is going to adapt and figure out a way to move. And it's not actually your body, it's your brain.
Hmm.
Your brain really needs to do two things. It's going to keep you safe and it's going to keep you functional. So when you still need to function, but you've got muscles that aren't working, joints that can't move the way they used to move, the brain's going to reroute those signals to muscles that can move and joints that will move and take it away from those ones that aren't moving very well anymore because of that injury. So you see people that are limping. You see people where they're putting more weight on one side than the other. That ankle's not moving anymore. You see it coming down flat because that ankle can't do that movement anymore to help you walk. So it's very in your head. If you think about it, you can clearly think about what someone looks like when they're hobbling around and they've had a sprained ankle. But when people go for therapy, what they look at is let's get rid of the swelling in the ankle and let's get our ankle mobility back. Yay, the ankle's moving great. Let's go. But no one told the brain to let go of the neural processes, of the compensations that it put in there to keep you safe. You have to retrain the brain. You have to automate the movements that you want because you've automated the limping. So we've got to go back to when we were 15 and 20 and moving well and retrain the brain to do that. So without that last piece, without retraining the brain, it's not going to happen. So that's the kinetic stacking method that I use. We break it down, we find limitations, we fix those limitations. So the range of motion in the ankle, how things are moving, getting rid of the swelling, all of that initial components of injury. But then you've got to cure those compensations. You've got to re-automate it, the movement patterns that you really want. And that is what allows you to move with the freedom even when you're older, is getting rid of the compensations or the bad habits that don't serve you anymore.
Yeah. So I love this. In the context of brain health, I have exercising daily, regularly, as part
Yes.
of the restored protocol. So I've identified 8 essential protective factors for your brain.
I just counted restored. Yes, you're right. 8. RESTORD. Yes.
So, yeah, so exercise, I talk about cardio, I talk about strength training, and I talk about flexibility and balance. So,
Perfect.
I am curious though, when is it appropriate for someone to see, say, a physical therapist versus a kinesiologist?
Yep. And it depends on the scope of practice of each of those professions as well. There's many physiotherapists where they may work with a different context. They may not work clinically. They may not work orthopedically. And kinesiologists the same way, where they may do more occupational health or they may do more ergonomics. So you really do need to define who you're seeing in that scope of practice that you need. Now, physiotherapists generally work within the hospital settings. So when you're discharged from your orthopedic surgeon, they'll make a referral to a physiotherapist. And I find myself personally, they are the first hands on to reduce the swelling, do the hands on therapy, and making sure to keep your wound in good stead, with the bandages, how much they're moving. Because when you have all those stitches or you have all those staples, there's limitations on how much you should be moving as well. You don't want to rip open those stitches. And there's great physical therapists that have that training. There are kinesiologists as well, but generally speaking, right after surgery, you're with a physio.
Okay.
And that's what I did. My surgery, for my first knee replacement, the first total knee was on a Friday, and I was in the physical therapy clinic on the Monday.
Okay.
Now, before that, did I do my own exercises, what I knew I could do? Absolutely. I felt very secure as a professional, knowing what I could do and balance with doing my ankle pumps and doing some of the ranges of motion for my knee within safe measures, and then coordinating with my physical therapist. And we worked very well together to ramp up to get as good as we can.
Good, good. All right. So, as we're talking about all of this, actually, I can't help but think of Lindsey Vonn. I kind of wanted to get your take on her. She had a ruptured ACL, right? It's the same leg that ultimately she ended up having the complex tibia fracture, correct?
Was it the same leg? I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was. But I think let's go back one step before. She had a
Okay.
partial knee replacement done as well.
That was on the other leg. That was on
Yes.
her right.
But she had previous surgery and previous issues before even tearing the ACL. So
Okay.
she was coming back from a
Right.
really big surgery. And, bless her at, what, she 41?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, woohoo. I'm like, power to us old ladies. Not that that's old, but
No,
for an
yeah.
Olympic athlete, when
Yeah.
she's up there against teenagers, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when you look at so I mean, I'm going to be 100% behind her decision to ski because I think you get to make that choice, understanding what the risks are. But then when she makes statements like her ACL had nothing to do with what happened, do you agree with that statement? Because my gut says no, I don't.
It's interesting because for over 30 years, I've evaluated movement. I've evaluated movement where it's automated and people don't even know they're doing it because it is subconscious, not unconscious, it's subconscious. So your brain is doing things that you are just not aware of. So if I point to someone and say, "Did you know that your left toe moves out every time you take that step?" Oh my gosh, I'd had no idea. Or your arm swings in front of your body when you walk instead of along the side. They don't know that. They don't know why they do it. They don't know how long they've done it. And to correct it, as I said, kinetic stacking method, we got to break it down, fix it, and then get rid of those automations, those habits that aren't serving us. So with those changes that may have happened because of the knee replacement, changes that are going to happen with the trauma of the torn ACL, bone bruising, everything else that's in there, the body, the brain is automatically going to change things. No matter how hard you train, how hard you do things. And if you don't fix those automations, something's still going to signal in the muscles that turn that off, turn that on. Don't put weight on that leg, put it on the other leg. Add in there that there's a brace on there that's going to have some sort of weight. I mean, when you're going 70 miles an hour and you look at what they wear, they want that wind resistance to be nothing. And you've added another, it could be 10 ounces on one side. It's
Mm,
going to change your biomechanics. So there's, there has to be. I mean, I would put money on it that there were changes occurring because of the neural pathways coming from the brain. Did that cause the accident? Okay, she got something caught around the pole. That's what caused the accident. But what caused the changes in her body to allow that to happen in a professional? We don't know. We'll never know. But
yeah.
there's automations always at work once you've had an injury. So just like
Yeah.
I said, with the person who is limping, you don't learn to limp, you limp immediately. Your brain says right away, these aren't firing, I'm not using them. So that is instantaneous where your brain takes over and knows what's going on and what's not going on. There's signals from the brain down to the muscles, and there's signals from the muscles and the joints and everything else back to the brain. So they talk to each other constantly.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's their own language, and your brain wins always.
The brain is a very powerful organ. That's for
It,
sure.
yep, it wins. Yeah. The muscles are just the little, the little worker bees that go around and do things that the brain tells it to do.
Yeah. 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 I think I'm just always amazed at how automatic things are. That really they happen without us even thinking about it, unless we put a lot of energy and focus. And make those conscious choices. And then,
Well, how many people drive to work or drive to the grocery store? They're talking on the phone to their kid, their spouse, whomever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I got here. Did I run a red light? Were they all green? Like I'm in a parking spot. Like did I take it from someone else? It's so automated. You don't even know because you drive to the grocery store. How many thousands of times have you done it? Or driven home from work? How many thousands of times where it's automated? And that's exactly the same way with your body.
yeah, yeah. Well, I do hope that Lindsey Vonn has a nice, smooth, it's going to be a long recovery. I know that for
Gosh, yeah.
sure. But I do hope that she recovers and she's able to get back to doing the things that she loves at some point.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think
yeah.
she's a great role model for women in pushing to do, her absolute limits, which is incredible. And we all say prayers for her and wish her well, for sure.
Okay, so here's what I hope you took away from this conversation. Your movement patterns, those compensations, are habits, just like other habits you might have, like emotional eating or procrastination. They were formed for a reason, often to protect you from pain. And your brain automated them so well that you stopped noticing they were there. Like your ankle healed, but the brain kept limping. So you may not be able to see it, but a trained eye will. And then no amount of gym time overrides that if the compensation, those neural pathways, are still running underneath. So Marian said, your brain wins, right? Always. The muscles are just the worker bees doing what the brain tells them to do. So if you want to move better and get the full brain health benefit from that movement, we need to retrain the brain first. That's what her kinetic stacking method is all about, right? Breaking it down, finding the root cause, fixing it, and then re-automating with the correct patterns. And here's why this matters so much right now. In midlife, because menopause brings its own set of physical challenges, right? We're talking joint stiffness, new aches that seem to come from nowhere, maybe frozen shoulder, right? Muscle loss, fatigue, right? Those changes can quietly become reasons not to exercise. Your knee hurts, so you stop walking. The shoulder flares up, so you skip the weights. And I get it, right? The pain is real, the struggle is real. But as Marian said, pain is a symptom, right? It's your body's check engine light telling you something needs attention, right? Not to park your car, leave it in the garage. So if that's where you are right now, part 3 is especially for you because Marian has been through it. Okay, she's got surgeries, recoveries, the whole journey. And she's going to talk about what it looks like to rebuild. And then we're also going to get into research on leg strength and brain health. And I think that's going to completely reframe how you think about leg day. Okay? So the link to part 3 is in the show notes or the description. I'll see you there. Hi there. Would you please do me a quick favor? If you're a woman in midlife who wants to protect her brain, especially if you have a family history of Alzheimer's, please subscribe, right? This channel is for you. And I post every week. So not only do I not want you to miss my next episode, as the channel grows, I'll be able to access harder to book guests who have really valuable insights and wisdom that I think are best learned directly from the source, right? And if this episode resonated with you, please be sure to like and share and watch this episode next.